Aser 2011 is the 7th annual Status of Education report. From secondary school students to district institutes for education and training, from NGOs to sports clubs, close to 500 organizations, institutions and groups participated in this year's Aser. They covered 558 rural districts and reached 6.5 lakh children in more than 3 lakh households across the country. This year's good news is that enrollment of children in the 6 to 14 age group remains high at 96.7%. Of special interest is the increase in enrollment of girls in the 11 to 14 age group. In 2006, 1 out of every 10 girls in this age group was not enrolled in school. 5 years later, this number has dropped by half. Enormous progress is seen in states like Bihar, West Bengal and Chhattisgarh, which have traditionally had high proportions of girls out of school. However, the populous states of Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan continue to lag behind. More and more families in rural India are choosing to rely either on private schools or on paid private tutors to help their children's schooling. Looking first at private schools at the All India level, 1 in every 4 rural children in the 6 to 14 age group in rural India now attends private school. In 8 states of the country, more than 40% of rural children are in private school. Between 2010 and 2011, states showed large increases in the proportion of primary school children enrolled in private school. In 2011, more than 1 out of every 5 children in standard 1 to 5 took tuition classes. While this number varies considerably across states, it is very high in the eastern states of Odisha, Bihar and West Bengal, where private school enrollment is very low. It is also very high in Kerala. What about learning outcomes? Since 2005, Aser has provided evidence to show that the problem of poor learning levels begins much earlier in primary schools, which are failing to provide children with even basic literacy and numeracy skills. In 2011, learning outcomes for government schools show sharp drops from 2010, although outcomes for private schools remain more or less unchanged. In reading, for example, the proportion of children in Standard 5 able to read a Standard 2 level text has dropped from 53.7% in 2010 to 48.2% in 2011. This decline is seen mainly across North India. In government schools in Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, there is a continuous decline in learning levels over time, and sharp drops are visible in 2011. However, in a few states there is good news. In Gujarat, Punjab, Tamil Nadu and some of the northeastern states, the numbers for 2011 are better than for 2010. Decline is also seen in children's ability to do basic arithmetic. For example, nationally the proportion of Standard 3 children able to solve a 2-digit subtraction problem with borrowing has dropped from 36.3% in 2010 to 29.9% in 2011. This decline is visible in almost every state. Only Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and states in the northeastern region of India show improvements from 2010 to 2011. While the 2011 drops are shocking, some states have been showing gradual decline in learning outcomes for several years now. Did the census 2011 compound the problems in states with poorly functioning school systems? Trends in Aser's school data may help answer this question. Aser routinely visits 1 government school with primary school sections in about 14,000 sample villages. Nationally, since 2007, children's attendance has decreased from 73.4% to 70.9% in 2011 in rural primary schools. In some states, this decrease is very sharp. For example, in primary schools of Bihar, average attendance of children dropped from 59% in 2007 to 50% in 2011. In Madhya Pradesh from 67% to 54.5%. In Uttar Pradesh from 64.4% to 57.3%. And in Manipur from 76.7% to 52.3%. Few schools in rural India have one teacher per class, and the proportion of multi-grade classrooms increased from 2010 to 2011. In 2011, children in Standard 2 were found sitting with one or more other classes in close to 6 out of every 10 of the primary schools visited. Teaching groups that are very diverse in terms of age, grade and ability level require high levels of preparation and skill on the part of the teacher. Are we preparing our teachers adequately to deal with this challenge? Beginning April 2010, states have 3 years to comply with the provisions of the RTE Act. Halfway through this period, how far have states come? Aser finds that the proportion of schools complying with RTE provisions in 2011 is generally similar to 2010. About 40% of schools comply with RTE norms on pupil-teacher ratio, but almost 3/4 comply with the norms on teacher-classroom ratio. Both these numbers have changed only marginally since 2010. However, there have been substantial improvement in the proportion of schools that have separate girls' toilets that are usable. Over the past year, this figure has risen nationally by over 10 percentage points, from 32.9% in 2010 to 43.8% in 2011. The proportion of schools with libraries has also increased, from 62.5% in 2010 to 71.4% in 2011. Also, children were observed using library books in 42.3% in 2011, up from 37.9% in 2010. So, the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act had been in force for about 18 months. Where are we today?